Hear your favorite NFL legends sharing their stories and insights every week, right here on Thursday Night Tailgate with Chris Mascaro and Bob Lazari. Take it away,
Once
guys.
the door is locked, there's no way out.
And now back with us and making his sixth appearance on the Kyvan Foods guest line is Randy McMichael. Let me remind you about Randy's background. He's from Griffin, Georgia, which is about 45 miles south of me here in Atlanta. And not only was Randy one of the top 50 football players in the state of Georgia when he was in high school, he also lettered in basketball and track. He attended the University of Georgia, where he was a 3-year letterman. In 1999, he was named a first-team freshman All-American, and in 2001, he was named first-team All-SEC. Finished his college career ranked 9th on Georgia's all-time receiving list. He was drafted in the 4th round in 2002 by the Miami Dolphins, and he played tight end in the league from 2002 to 2012 with the Dolphins, Rams, and Chargers. He became the Dolphins' first rookie tight end to start all 16 games. Over the course of his NFL career, he had 426 receptions for just under 4,600 yards, and he scored 24 touchdowns. And every time he joins us here on Thursday Night Tailgate, this segment is so much fun to be a part of, and we're excited. He is back with us again tonight here on Thursday Night Tailgate. Hey, Randy, Chris, and Bob, thanks for coming back on the show.
Welcome back.
What's going on, fellas? This is number 6. Well, I lost count.
Indeed. So, Randy, I want to start off like we do every time we get to have you on the show, talking about your boys at the University of Georgia. Kirby Smart's second season now as head coach. What has to happen for you? What are you going to consider successful this year? What do they got to do in order for you, I should say, to consider it a successful season?
The thing about me is, guys, is that I've been saying this probably since the end of last year. I'm going to wait and see. My expectations, I think this team is and should win the East. But I'm not going to put all my heart like I have these past few years because I can't take it no more. My body can't take it no more. My kids can't run out of the room anymore. Me screaming at the TV and I want my kids to watch the games with me. A couple of years they're like, Daddy, we just can't sit down there with you and watch it because you're yelling and cursing. So right now my expectation is that I think they're going to be good. I honestly think that they will have one of the best defenses in the country. When you're talking about you got 10 of 11 starters. Even though we did lose one of our starting corners in Parrish last week with a foot injury, there's still that front 7 with Trent Thompson and Ledbetter and Bellamy and Carter and those guys and Roquan and Natrez in the linebacking core in the middle. I think that we should be fine. My expectations are that we will play Alabama here in Atlanta, and hey, let the chips fall where they may.
So you mentioned a couple of guys by name, Randy. Who are some of the players that people need to watch this year for the Bulldogs?
Well, defensively, you're talking about two guys that I did not think they were leaving school, but I guess they had some press conference where are the two outside linebackers and Bellamy and Lorenzo Carter. I mean, these guys, when the bus pulls up to the visiting team stadium, you want these two guys off the bus first because they look the part. I mean, these dudes are huge. They're cut. When they go to the combine, they're going to tear it up because that's what they look like, athletic and all those things. But now a second year under Kirby, I hope that he's got that fight and that dog out of him. Offensively, it's all about Jacob Eason. What is he going to do? How is he going to progress in his second year as a starter? Jim Chaney, our offensive coordinator, comes out, and everybody knows how much I love Jim Chaney. He's my tight end coach in St. Louis. I love him to death. But if he don't get right, he's going to be gone. And he's talking about he had some soul searching. You got a healthy Sony. You got Nick Chubb second year off of knee surgery. I expect big things from this team.
So let's switch gears a little bit, Randy. When you look here locally at the Falcons, coming off, a really crushing loss in last year's Super Bowl, do you think they're going to be able to shake that off, put that in the rear view mirror, or do you think that that's a kind of loss that might linger around for a season or two?
I think honestly that this team is going to be fine. I really, really do. I think because first of all, you have such a young team, especially defensively, that they don't know no better yet. They really don't. And it sounds funny, but it's so true. They don't know any better. It's like, okay, but the thing about it, you can't take it for granted. We got to the Super Bowl this year. We're going to get back again. You still have to work for it. But I think because I think Dan Quinn is a great leader of this team. And they have this saying right here, embrace the whatever. And I'll never say it because that's just not what I'm going to do. But at the same time, this team is built to last. And this team, people say, well, your window's closing. Well, it's not when you look at how young this team is They have their quarterback. They have a franchise quarterback under contract, about to get a new deal. They signed their franchise running back. You have Julio. I mean, this team is going to be fine. Now, the one thing that they can't get involved in is, me covering the games here, working for the Atlanta Falcons radio network, is that the fans, okay, I don't want to say blew lead because it's preseason, but you blow the lead, you lose the game in Miami. Everybody, oh, God, it looks like, just calm down. It's preseason. Look at what the first team offense and the first team defense did. They went out and kicked butt. And I expect that a lot going on this year.
5 questions for Randy?
Always a pleasure to speak with you, my friend. And when you got to Miami in 2002, Randy, they had some good players on that team, like your Zach Thomas's, Patrick Surtain. I remember Jason Taylor, of course. On the offensive side, Chris Chambers. Just wondering, out of all those guys, Randy, maybe a couple of guys that really eased your transition from college to the NFL. Who took you under the wing back then?
Well, I mean, I think the one guy was our long snapper, Ed Perry, that played tight end. He was just relegated to being a long snapper. But the one thing he did, because, Jed Weaver was there and Alonzo Mays and Draper and those guys, and they were all cool. But, I knew that they didn't want to see this 4th-round rookie come in and be the starter. So Ed helped me out with so much as far as because the thing about the offense when I got there, it's based Georgia under Coach Donnie, so the terminology wasn't that bad. It was just everything else, the nuances of the position of tight end in the NFL, knowing that I wasn't a big tight end. And these guys, back in those days, we had guys that were 6'5", 300 pounds, but would get double-digit sacks. Now these guys are 6'2", 220 pounds playing defensive end. I mean, I handled them all day, but I had to grow up and I had to fight with these big guys growing up as the league. So I think it was more Ed Perry. I think off the field, Ed Perry, and I say this about Jason Taylor all the time. I still remember the first road trip we went on as my rookie year, and I get on the plane, and these guys, especially Jason Taylor, they're in custom suits looking like they're going to work in an office. And I was like, dog, is this what y'all do? It's like, hey, son, this is professional. You go as a professional. We're on a business trip. And from that day on, I wore a suit from then on.
Pretty impressive. And you talked about the toughness of guys back then, Randy, and your first 6 years in the league, you didn't miss a game. And this is not while you're just on the sidelines, or you're catching a lot of passes, you're blocking like crazy, but 6 years of not missing a game, starting most of them, I mean, that's not normal. What do you attribute that? Was it the off-season training, Randy, or was it genes? Tell me what led to that kind of toughness.
I'm a country boy. That's what I am. I'm a country boy that, we grew up stretch for what? This you show up and play. I mean, I didn't take supplements. I didn't do massages. I think it was just, I had a lot of will. And I think that I would have kept the record if I didn't break my leg, on a horse collar tackle. It was just more or less, it was just all about being able and having availability. And that's the most important thing to me. Like, little things get by me. Yeah, there were some games that I probably should have missed. But I'm like, you know what, man, hey, if it ain't broken, if I ain't bleeding, like my high school coach would say, throw some dirt on, let's go. And that was always my mentality. That's what throws me out today with these players. Like, dog, that kept you out? That kept you out? I mean, we just didn't do that. It's like, you know what, I'll miss some practice time, which I never did, and throw some dirt on it.
Randy, I also wanted to get your thoughts on one of the other teams you played for in the Rams, and their offense really struggled last season. Your guy, Todd Gurley, had a tough year, probably more as a result of the offensive line play than it is Todd's ability. And you got Jared Goff, now going to get his first full season as their starting quarterback. They bring in Sammy Watkins as well at wide receiver. So give me your thoughts. What do you think about the Rams? If you're a Rams fan, are you optimistic about this season, or do you still think they're a year or two away?
Well, the thing about the Rams is you saw last year, and I said this, that people got mad at me, and I really don't care. They had the worst offensive coaching staff in the history of the NFL. I mean, it was just brutal. They had nobody to develop a young tight end or a young quarterback. And it was evident. I mean, it was always run Todd Gurley up the middle 2 times and then try to throw the ball. And that made me so mad because I just thought that they had so much potential. Now, with McVay, he's an offensive guy. And I think Todd Gurley's going to do some good things this year. I think they're going to throw the ball to him a lot. I think getting Whitworth as a left tackle and a veteran was so big. You get a big play receiver in Sammy Watkins. You go out and get Robert Woods from Buffalo also. I love this kid, Cooper Coop. I think he is going to be a big-time player for him. But one guy, listen, look out for this guy right here, Gerald Everett. All right, he's a tight end. He is like in the mode of Jordan Reed that they had in Washington. Watch how they use this kid. This kid is a special athlete, and when they get him the ball, he makes plays. But I think the Rams are going to be better. Do I think they're going to win the division? No. But I think they'll be better. But they'll be better if they get rid of that white horn in their helmet. I mean, it's just so ugly, and they'll match their helmet. I mean, that's so sad, isn't it? It's just so.
You don't like the throwback?
Oh, well, if you're gonna wear the throwback helmet, wear the throwback uniform. That's what I'm saying. Like, it just don't mix with the new uniform. It's so ugly. It's hideous.
Hey, Randy, you get your thoughts, on just AFC as a whole. Is there a team capable of challenging the Patriots this season in the AFC, barring an injury to Tom Brady? Who can give them a run? First
of all, you got to get them out of Foxborough. You got to find a way to get them out of Foxborough. I love Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh might be the only team, and it all depends on if Le'Veon Bell is healthy. I think if Le'Veon Bell was healthy last year, it would have been a better game than it was. I think a team that is built to go to New England and win, and I'm so high on this team, are the Tennessee Titans because they're built like the Ravens were when they went in New England and beat them. A power run game. You keep Tom Brady off the field. You can rush Tom with 4 and drop 8. They're built that way. Now, can they get there? I don't know. But right now, the only team I really see is Pittsburgh. My Dolphins with Jay Cutler, we'll see. They look good tonight. Jay Cutler had a fumble, and then I thought he had another fumble. But I think Pittsburgh, if you can find a way to get them out of Foxborough, you might have a shot.
And speaking of Jay Cutler, give me your thoughts on Cutler. If you're a veteran on that team, right, and now, and then Tannehill goes down, and you hear that they're bringing in a guy like Jay Cutler with all of the perceptions of Jay, right? The personality issues, and is he really invested, and does he really care, and all that sort of stuff. As a veteran, do you when he arrives, do you embrace him and let him know, hey, we're with you, we're behind you, let's make this thing work? Or are you sitting back waiting to see what he does and how he, interjects himself into the locker room before you make a decision one way or the other?
Well, the one thing about if you're a leader of the team, if you're a guy that's been there for a while, you go up and you bring him into the circle. Because the one thing about it, all those guys on the team knew that when they signed him, he's going to be our guy. He's our quarterback. So we have to ingratiate him. And then on Jay's part, he has ingratiated himself with the fellas. I saw where Rashad had a birthday party in Miami. Jay had to be there. You're supposed to be there. You're supposed to be doing things where, say, your teammate has a charity event. So Jay needs to be there because that is how you get the camaraderie when you haven't been with these guys that long. And right now, I mean, you see some good things from Jay. One thing we know, he has talent. He has so much arm talent. He had a nice pass tonight to Devontae Parker. I mean, he has the weapon, and Jay Train can run the rock. His thing is, and I know Adam Gase, don't lose it for us. And that's the thing about it. Don't lose it for us. And Jay Cutler, he loses games for people. And that's why I'm just on the hinge. I think he's more talented than Ryan Tannehill. I think he gives us a better chance than Ryan Tannehill. But at the same time, just don't lose it.
So take that a step further. If he has a good season, what do you do Do you try to bring Jay back, one more time and then try to, find a different young quarterback? Where does that leave Tannehill if Cutler does well this year?
Well, I mean, there's so many different issues behind it. If Jay plays well, hell yeah, you bring him back. Yes, you bring him back. The thing with Tannehill is they can get from up under his contract. He's having surgery, so he's gonna be probably when you talk about when the league year, he probably won't be healthy. So you can't cut a player they're not healthy. So, but at the same time, once he gets healthy, you can release him. I think that if Jay plays well, Ryan Tannehill is gone. I honestly do. I think Ryan is gone, and then they find another young quarterback. I think Adam Gase, and I said this, I wasn't on y'all show. I wasn't the biggest Gase fan because I didn't know a lot about him other than what people were telling me. Like, he's going to be a good guy. And then after that Tennessee game last year, when Tennessee just straight ramrodded my Dolphins, and he cut all those linemen, and then they started winning, I saw that. But you look at them, I think 10 games, they were like 7 points or less. So they could have easily went from a playoff team, from a non-playoff team to a playoff team. I mean, that's how close the margin was. So I want to see if they can get better than that.
Bob, a couple more for Randy before we let him go?
Sure, Randy. I talked to you before about how tight ends are my favorite players on the football team just because of the scope of their jobs. And when it comes down to learning playbooks and things like that, Randy, there's passing routes, there's blocking schemes, there's so much you need to know. I mean, is that the toughest position, do you think, to play on a football team?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I would always say when I was playing, yeah, it is because of, but now it's all about, all right, you can't block, so we won't let you block. You can't run route, so we won't let you run route. I mean, it's so different now because of the way the college game is sending tight ends into the league now. I mean, it's been so long since you've seen a tight end that can play Y. And what I mean by Y is a guy who plays with his hand in the dirt. O.J. Howard has been the first one in a long time that can do all those things. I mean, I still think that quarterback is the most difficult position to play in sports, in professional sports, period. I just think that's what it is. But, I mean, tight end, if you can have a tight end that can do multiple things, it gives your roster so much flexibility because you don't have to keep a fullback. You can keep an extra linebacker or you can keep an extra tackle because he can pass. I mean, it's so many things you can do if you have a tight end that can do so many things.
And the three different franchises, Randy, Miami, St. Louis, San Diego, was one offense more complex than the other?
No, they really weren't. They were not.
No?
I mean, I had 1 year because, I mean, I was always, like I said, I played under Coach John and Norm Turner, and they all ran the same offense that Jim Peasy put in, same wordage, same everything. 1 year, the first year Stagnolia got there when he brought in Pat Shermer. We ran the West Coast offense, which was a little bit different as far as terminology. The routes and everything was the same, but just terminology. But the thing about it is, and I talk to young players about this all the time, it's still football. And that's why I look at it. Football came easy to me. It doesn't come easy to everybody. You have those guys who just can't like concept. And when you can grasp the concept of football, because it's all the same, it's such a copycat league, you know that if you have a basic cross, majority of the time it's going to be a post over back on any offense. But some kids and some players just can't grasp that. And I just never had a problem with it.
Randy, before we let you go, remind our listeners how they can stay up to date with all the things you're doing, whether it's online or over social media.
Well, you can always find me at Randy81Mac. Randy Mac 81 on Twitter. And just make sure you listen out for me. We got some big things on my college football show is about to start this year on 92.9 The Game, doing Falcons Radio Network, doing the pregame for the Falcons. So we got a bunch of big things going, man.
Yes, you do. And Randy, it's always so much fun for Bob and I to get to spend this segment with you. You're so fantastic. We can't thank you enough for coming back and being part of the show.
And I got y'all anytime, man. I appreciate y'all for having me on for the 6th time. Can't wait for the 7th.
There you go.
There we go.
Thank you, Randy. Take care, my friend. We'll catch up soon.
All right, fellas.
Good night.
That is former Dolphins, Rams, and Chargers tight end Randy McMichael, and again UGA as well at the University of Georgia. And what a great guest he is, Bob. Every single time Randy comes on the show, it's always insightful. He's always right on point, and the things he talks about is fantastic. Always enjoy the segment when he's a part of the show.
Incredibly underrated, Chris. I don't know how he didn't make Pro Bowls. I mean, if you look at his stats, they're really incredible. So versatile in what he did. But the stats speak for themselves. He was a great tight end.
We've got our next guest, Randy Grimes, hanging on the line. Before we get to Randy, I want to give a shout out to our good friends over at the Gridiron Greats organization. Please help support a wonderful cause that's taking care of guys who literally left so much of themselves out on the playing field. Remember, folks, these are the guys who played back, when they still had to get off-season jobs to support themselves and their families. It's organizations like this one that was started by Mike Ditka, the Gridiron Greats here, who are, trying to help the guys that we all grew up watching and reading about. Please go to gridirongreats.org to see what you can do to get involved.